Right, enough silliness. Enough silliness already. Goodness gracious. We're here for serious business, aren't we, Jess?
We are always the seriousness.
That's right. So, look, for anyone who's had your head somewhere warm and moist for a long time and hasn't come across Jess before, Jess used to be a full-time presenter on my channel for a bit until she got far too busy for that, being a mother of four, and I'm saying that flippantly. I'm including her partner as one of those kids that she's responsible for. Love you, Ant. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, and she's also a preeminent world expert in the field of looking after your nervous system. And we thought it was well timed that we remind you folks of all of those kind of things again and just caught up, because actually we haven't spoken for months, Jess and I. It's like trips in the night and all that kind of bizzo.
It has been, hasn't it?
Yeah,
It's been,
right.
Sorry guys, my camera's deciding to move about. So nice to see you, babe.
It's nice to
And
see you
yes,
too.
it is nice to catch up. I'm just going to really, really work out this position. So as I just said to Bart, I was meant to be in my office, but Ant is doing a treatment with a client. I thought it was a 60-minute and it's a 90-minute. So I've been booted out of my office and into my room. So welcome. Nobody ever gets to see this space, really.
Welcome to Jess's room. Very good, very good. All right, Jess, give us a rundown. What's been happening? Who's up who's next, who hasn't paid, all of that, you know.
Oh my God. It's just been a really different kind of year for me personally. I started the beginning of this year and I was a bit burnt out. I just was working with a lot of clients that were chronically sick and ill. And although it is an honor to walk people through being in a bad state to being in a good one, it also can be really taxing depending on the people that I'm working with. And I had a lot of stroke people this year, and I had a lot of just really, really busted, broken down people. And it was amazing. And they had incredible results. And I blew out. So I was like, okay, I need to just relax a little bit this year and actually do a little bit less, and also look at the way that I'm able to really help people. Because, I was prominently reminded this morning that if you don't have access to me, or your finances don't have access to me, then there's very limited ways that you can help yourself with this specific side of the world. And it's because there's only a few of us. Like there's less than 25 global NRT practitioners, which is Neuro Reset by Simon Frost. And so if you aren't in the UK and able to access one of us, or there's only 3 of us out of that group that do online, it's like, well, how do I get access? So this year has been about like, what can I do online? What resources can I provide for people to start chipping away at their nervous system and strengthening different systems within their nervous system to get them where they want to go? Because, the reason I wanted to speak about this today, and I mentioned about earlier, is because food and nutrition is one piece of the puzzle. And people can be doing everything right with their nutrition and everything right with their circadian rhythms and everything right with their lighting environments and with movement and everything, and still not be where they want to be. And it's like, what is holding all of those people back? What is the big thing that's going to impact on that? Because we've seen in our community that people have been bailing, like, oh, I'm going to reintroduce this and dabble with that, and let's try and reinvent the wheel, when actually the problem isn't what you're putting in your mouth. It's how your nervous system is receiving it and what it's doing with that, because it's just another piece of information. Nutrition is just data. It's just another input into the nervous system. And so I keep seeing, people struggling with their weight and people struggling with skin issues still. And, personally, I have also gone through a bit of a roller coaster. And Bart knows about this because we're a little bit more in contact with each other. But some people would have seen on my stories that I put on about 7 kilos for a chunk of this year. And that I've been dealing with skin eczema issues as well. And so what I wanted to dive into with you today is like, there is so much noise, right, about the nervous. Oh, it's the nervous system. It's the nervous system. It's the nervous system. What the fuck is the nervous system? We know it's this elusive thing that controls our body, but we don't really know how it works, how it's built, how we earn it, how it's wired up, like how it actually controls everything in our systems in our body. And I think we need to clear a lot of that confusion today, because there's all these vagal toning exercise programs and these nervous system regulation programs all popping up all over the internet. And for a lot of it, it's rubbish, and it's not going to do very much at all to support you. And that sucks, because when you're looking for something and you're ready to change and you're ready to put in the work, but you don't know what to do, it's a real head screw, because then you're trying to find what to do rather than just being like, okay, I understand this, and this is how it gets developed, and this is how it gets weakened, and this is how trauma goes in, and okay, I can do something with that now, rather than just being more confused than when you started looking at it.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's what we thought we'd talk about today. So obviously, for you guys who may not know, Bart was my professor at university. So I've known him for a very, very long time. We're talking decades. And I met a PT actually recently in the week, and she came down for treatment from Auckland. And she said to me, like, would I need more than what I've got currently qualified to learn neuroreset? And I was like, not necessarily, no, because what I had to do is actually unlearn a lot of things that I thought that I knew from doing a degree in sports. Fast forward, and obviously you know all about this, I've had to unlearn a lot of the things that I was taught about not just nutrition but human function. And so no, you don't need a degree to get this stuff. You need an open mind and some basic understanding about how we're wired. And that's all it really takes to be able to improve yourself and improve your nervous system, and also get that weight down, get the skin healing, get whatever problems that you've still got, even though you've gone and done all the right things. This is the piece that, you know, most people are looking for.
Yeah.
So I actually can't see in the chat, by the way, Bart. So if any questions are popping up or anything like that, make sure you...
Yes, I'm sure that questions will start to pop up once we've finished with the introductory, you know,
component
and all of that. Because at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, super intelligent shades of the colour sky blue pink, now is your opportunity to question a world-leading expert in this field. Okay? So, you know... Jess is connected directly with Simon Frost, who is basically the guy that's come up with all of this. This is a treatment modality which involves, well, it's called neuro reset technique for a reason. Basically what it is it gives a person back control over pathways that their body has lost control of, basically. Is that overly parsimonious, Jess? Or,
no, that's good. And I think it's good we talk simply today. You and I particularly can get into it, and it's like most people don't know what the fridge we're talking about. So we're going to keep we're going to try and keep it simple. And if you don't get it, please ask in the comments. Like, this is a space to explore. I've got about an hour to spend with you guys this morning. And I just want to point out too that I thought I knew a lot. And then when I learned this, I was like, oh my God, I know nothing. Like, it really is that thing of walking out into the ocean and realizing how little you know and how deep it goes. It's that kind of situation. So don't ever feel like any question is stupid. Every question is valid. Like, ask. So yeah, if that's your invitation to feel silly, asking a silly question, go for it. This is the space.
There it is.
But has had a lot of experience with what this modality is and does and can do. And so I think it's a really beautiful person to have a conversation with, because not only does Bart have a big old brain, he has wisdom through experience, because we can give you all the knowledge, right? But without the experience, we have no wisdom. And so he can give you some of that, as obviously can I. I've been doing Neuro Reset for... this is 13 years, and I've been a high-level PT and bespoke fitness coach since I was, 23 years in health, 13 in Neuro Reset. And so I've got a ton of experience. I've got a ton of wisdom, because I have done it all, tried it all, been there, done that, tried it on myself, wrote the book. And then I was still looking, because I couldn't get support or help for the injuries that I had, for the problems that I had. And so I was looking for more, and that is how I landed where I am. It's not just because I fell into it. I was hunting for a new age, high tech, revolutionary treatment that actually does what it says on the tin, and can actually produce that outcome and that result time and time over and over again. You can test it, you can see the change yourself. There's no doubting it. It just does what it says it does. And so I love that about this work, because if you come to me and you're like, Jess, I've done everything. Had a back problem for 35 years. I've got degeneration. I've got weakness. I've got tightness. I've got pain. I'm like, yes, I can help. And it's not just, oh yeah, I can help, like hoping that with a number of things I can do it. Like, I know directly what this work does. And I'm so passionate about sharing that, because it isn't what's in the mainstream. I mean, frankly, we are underground. And so when Bart and I reconnected, and I was like, hey, you were my professor. You were literally my mentor at university. I did my research thesis and everything. He was my direct tutor. And I know that he doesn't take things lightly. I know that Bart will not settle for anything less than. I've seen him draw big lines all through my work over and over again. And come
You're welcome.
down.
I spent all week on that, you prick.
I know,
Literally.
Waffle. Yeah, I mean, it's humbling, but I know that, that you have the mind that you can see through absolute rubbish. And so, when Bart and I reconnected, I was so excited to share what I do with him, because, he was my professor, and this is something that I actually specialize in and can support him with, that he didn't know about, or obviously it didn't exist when we were at school together. So yeah, it's just been really amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess what I would love to do is just talk a bit about the nervous system, but I'm going to get you to give the basis of the nervous system and how it operates. And then we can take some questions, or we can talk about how the nervous system gets built and wired up. I think that's quite valuable. And like even traumas, how do we have traumas? Where do they store? Why do they store? Why do we get weak? Why do we get tight? Why do we get pain? Like, let's cover some of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's cover off how does the nervous system work first. But just before we do that, I just want to give you just one example. I mean, I've experienced many things through getting treatment from Jess and her partner as well. They work as a team somewhat. In some respects, from time to time.
We dabble.
But look, here's just one example. On one occasion, there was an issue with an imbalance in my leg musculature, deriving from a whole bunch of other problems from years and years and years of misuse, really, and an old injury and all this kind of stuff. And within 20 minutes start to finish, and that means test, treat, retest, the whole thing, we were able to increase the maximum force production in my leg muscle by 100%. In other words, doubled my maximum strength in 20 minutes from what it was to a new value. And that increase in strength remains. It's locked in.
Oh, God. I mean, that's the key point, right? One, do you remember what the kilos were that you generated? I can't remember now. We've got it on file somewhere.
It was pussy value to half pussy value. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was old man leg strength
it
to
wasn't
slightly
that
less old man. Yeah, it was. Let's be honest.
You
but
had
it
an
was a
injury
doubling.
too.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, doubling your capacity, really, if you think about what that would take in the gym, just lifting a weight and getting to the point that you can double the load that you're lifting, how long that takes. What I learned at university is to get strength, you have to do progressive adaptation and overload on a tissue. So you work it, and you build up capacity, and then you lower the reps and you higher the weights and you go back up and so on and so forth. That is how I believed we gained strength. And so if that's the case, then why did you gain like double the strength you've ever been able to lift in that leg at that point, right? Not ever, but at that stage.
Yes.
In 20 minutes, including testing. So like, why? How did you do that? And then how did you get to keep that?
Right. So the deal is that one of the most important determinants of the strength of a muscle is not how big that muscle is not how many times you've lifted a weight with that muscle. No. It is your ability to put together an effective motor program that innovates and recruits the right motor units in the right number with the right timing. Such that everything is coordinated to, you've probably all heard stories about mothers turning over cars because baby is trapped underneath it or something like that. Where did that strength come from? It was just a moment of adrenaline, sure, or epinephrine, we should call it, really. Yeah. And a very effective recruitment of a motor program that is executed to perfection. Another example is in sport. I guess some of us have had times in sport where we've done something that we just had. Where did that come from? Fuck, I was good then. That was the most incredible thing I've ever done in sport. Where did that come from? Yeah. No idea. It's hidden in the code. So we can talk about this, but before I do that, let me just give you. I'll give you an update actually from Saturday. I was playing cricket on Saturday. I'm still playing cricket in my mid-50s, by the way. Senior men's cricket. Yeah, I know.
Literally snapped your tendon.
No, I didn't.
Your ankle almost snapped your tendon. I snapped
my Achilles tendon about 4 years ago. But now I'm I've adapted to that, and that's repaired as much as. Anyway, that's not the story from this Saturday. It's just gone. The story from Saturday just gone is I come herring in to pick up a ball to field it, to toss it in. God. Did that. That was fine. Flung the ball in, and then immediately was like, oh, shit.
What did you do?
Supraspinatus.
Oh.
Twang. Oh,
what?
Jesus.
On the bad shoulder or on the good shoulder?
Yep, on that one that's been a problem, yep.
Oh, but.
I know, so I'll be in touch next week.
We need to put strength and tendons through that shoulder for you.
Or maybe I just need to give up playing competitive sport.
No, absolutely not. And this is the thing, you absolutely don't. Like, how many people do we work with that they're never meant to be able to play their sport ever again? Yeah. Like, it's... Okay, so, yeah, exactly. Like, this work is working on a different level. You go to a physio, chiropractor, osteo, they're all bodyworks people, and they're working on trying to regain strength and control to a muscle or group of tissues through repetition, right? That's how we believe that we're going to regain recruitment and get strength back in an area. Let's do it over and over again to try and potentiate the information coming into those receptors and get more out of them, right? However, sadly, we don't organize our system that way. We are not non-conscious. We're not consciously, think about when we walk, when you bowl, when you move, you're not thinking left, right when your legs walk, or you're not thinking, because we control our body neuromuscularly through the non-conscious systems. And those are organized and happening constantly. And so we don't get to choose, right, what muscle we're using and what order it's recruited, how much we're recruiting, whether or not we can even recruit in the first place. Now, guys, recruit just means engage. It means your ability to utilize and engage those tissues, all right? If you have zero muscle recruitment in an area, right, it is because there is a lack of sense in that area, right? And we can't control what we don't know. And so when we have a weakness somewhere, that weakness is a sensory lack. There is an insufficient amount of information coming in to those sensory pathways up to the brain, and then the brain able to integrate, process, and then sending signals to tell your body what to do. If the info in is poor, the info and control out is going to be poor.
Garbage in, garbage out. Exactly.
Literally, it is. Yep. And so when we're trying to control our body and we have a lack of sense of that area, you are not going to be able to have strength or control in that area. And it doesn't matter how many times you rep it, You're not going to magically regain function in that area or strength in that area. What does happen is if you do have some neurological recruitment of that tissue, then you might over time potentiate and gain a little bit more strength, sure. But if you have zero recruitment, if you have zero sense of that area, then you will not get it back through repetition. And Bart could see this. Like when we first started working together for NRT, it was when we did his shoulder online. It took about 5 hours for us to treat every joint and every muscle positional sense and movement sense in his shoulder. And he had atrophy and all sorts of problems that he'd tried to restore himself over years and years of trying to rebuild strength in the shoulder, and it just couldn't. He couldn't. It wasn't effective. He wasn't doing the work, or he wasn't doing it right, or he wasn't bollocks. It was he had a lack of sense of that area, and he wasn't able to regain that through a conscious modality because our sensory system works non-consciously. So we strengthened that, and then he could move it all, and he didn't have to put pillows under it anymore to sleep, and all the things. But it's really, really important to know that when we go to physio and we get these external rotation cuff exercise, like all of these things, or we're rolling a ball up the wall or whatever, what they're trying to do is gain better recruitment through repetition and potentiation. And what I'm saying to you is that if you have no non-conscious neuromuscular signaling that is strong to that area, then you won't have strength over that area. And you'll just build really amazing compensation strategies because our body is built to compensate, right? I need to pick up this bag. I've got poor elbow flexion. I'm going to pick it up from my shoulder, or I'm going to tip over from my waist because I've got to get the bag off the ground. Our body will find a way to get the load to wherever you're trying to get it. And then you end up with tight neck, tight shoulders, sore through here, and you're like, why? And you go to your physio and they're focused all up in this area, and the problem is down here in the elbow. And all you've got is weak, poor input into the elbow flexion muscles, joints, receptors, skin, fascia, ligaments, tendons, whatever it is. And you've built compensation, and now these are overloaded and stretched and stressed and pissed off because they're working when this muscle down here can't. And so compensation is normal. If we didn't have that, we'd be a hot mess. But you're going to end up with pain and inflammation and problems because your body isn't mechanically loading the way that it should, and you're having to use other parts of your body to compensate for that weakness.
Absolutely. Yes, so the deal with neuromuscular recruitment is that ostensibly, if you want to boil it down to an IT-based analogy, every movement that your body undertakes requires a line of code or a piece of code that encodes for that movement. Your brain packages up the different nervous signals that need to be sent from the brain to the spinal cord, out down to the limbs that are involved in the movement, or the core parts of your body that are involved in the movement, and it needs to execute all that code, all those different impulses, to the right degree, meaning the right number of the right kind of motor units, which are groups of muscle fibers connected to a single line of information, and with the right temporal sequencing in the right timing. Over time, because of compensation that Jess is talking about, the code becomes corrupt. You get garbage in, garbage out, and you end up with, The problem is you can't consciously read the code. You can't crack open your brain and say, what is this code saying? Let's correct the code. Let's type it in here, press enter. Now we're fixed. What you need in a therapeutic practitioner is somebody who knows where the control, alt, and delete buttons are. And that's ostensibly what NRT is. It's a mode of treatment whereby we can reset a given motor program for a given movement to the factory installed, I guess, if you like.
Yes,
default.
like what you're saying is like return to childlike ease of movement, to be able to do what we're just naturally meant to be able to do. And we don't just lose that from from what you were talking about, but we lose it from lots of different ways. Like he's saying corrupt, but let's be specific. Like if we've gone through, let's say we've missed a whole development stage, right? Let's talk about nervous system and earning it first, really, because some people just have no clue how we even gain control over our body and our limbs in the first place. So let's like go back to baby days, right? Think about when you're a baby, you have no control over your limbs. We're all smashing ourselves in the face and in the eye and scratching ourselves. And that's why they make these mittens and stuff for newborns, because we have a lack of control over our motor system. And that's because that's earned, right? And so when we are moving and trying to get my hand into my mouth and I'm smacking myself, eventually through repetition, I'm going to gain more control over that system and be able to get my thumb in my mouth and so forth. Yeah. So every time I do something, and that repetition from when we're born, we are earning control and sense of our own body, our own selves. It's a learning of self and a learning of control over self. So if you go from seated as a baby and you skip crawling and you go straight to walking, you are going to miss a whole ton of, let's call them mapping of those pathways, strength and control over those systems and joint motions. Like you didn't even get it. You missed it. Okay. And now you're doing other things and you never gained it in the first place. So one can be, you never had it in the first place. The other can be, you've lost it through injury. Okay. Or atrophy. Okay, when we don't use a system, that system gets weak and breaks down, right? And so if let's say even just sitting at a desk, I'm hunched over, I'm leaned over all day, okay? And my thoracic spinal muscles that extend me, that lift my chest, that pull my shoulders back, that bring me up, have become slack and weak, and there's not been much signals going into those tissues, then that tissue is going to become weak neurologically as well, not just the actual physical muscle. And so we think, and oh my God, I was taught this at university as well. I'll just do these, seated rows and these posterior chain exercises where I'm, pulling my thoracic spine this way, and then I think somehow that's going to improve my posture. Like, it's crazy. Gravity doesn't run this way. God knows why we think doing a pull exercise in a seated position is going to help recruit those tissues, because actually it's spinal muscles and they're weak because you haven't used them and they've degenerated, and the signals and the inputs have weakened, and so now you're weak in that area, and then you're trying to do an exercise on that area, but you don't even have the recruitment anymore anyway. And so it can be an actual injury. Like one of my clients had a double mastectomy and they cut through all of her chest wall, and so you can imagine that we had to re-strengthen and reconnect, let's think of it like connect her ability to sense and control those tissues. And so whether or not you've lost it through injury or degeneration or development, or you've had a stroke, or you've got neurological problems like cerebral palsy, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, all these incurable things, that is all nervous system weakness. Your injuries, pain, tightness, your shoulder, your bad neck, your bad spine, your supraspinatus part, your whatever it is, weak tightness is lack of sense. It is insufficient sense. And your body, when there's a lack of, imagine their maps. If I have no map of this area, guess what? My body's not going to allow me to go into that space. And I'll tighten to stop myself going into that area that is unknown, because that's where we get hurt. We're in the unknown, is where we get injured.
There'll be dragons there. Exactly.
Yar. So, we put the brakes on the other side of the tissue to protect us from going into an area that there's a lack of sense. And so what we do with NRT is give you back sense and control over your body, but you're relearning that at a non-conscious level. And that's the key difference. And that you get to keep it. Like, one, how long would it take you to gain that strength back that you got in the gym? Like, if you could even achieve that, let's be honest, like maybe not. And then would you be able to keep that just by just moving through that joint structure.
Not without knowing,
one of us.
What? Yeah, exactly. You can regain ability over time. Also, you can regain it like that, actually, pretty much. NRT
and also,
has done,
it's instant. I mean, it's instant. We can instantly strengthen your function and your control. And the thing is, you're saying you can regain back, but not necessarily. And where are you regaining back? Because remember, multiple muscles do a joint, right? Like it's not just one muscle that lifts my arm into abduction. There are multiple things going on. So if you damage one, how do you actually know that you're going to regain that back? You may never. You might just build other compensation so that your arm lifts with using other tissues. Like you don't know. The good thing about this work is, my favorite thing is you can test. We can test. Simon used to drive me freaking crazy, just like you did as a student, because I'd ask a question and it'd be like, maybe, let's test. Maybe, have you tested it? Maybe. Like, just give me the answer. Like, just give me the answer. But the answer really is maybe, and let's test it. Because as Bart knows, we can test your nervous system. We can find where the weaknesses are, where there's a lack of sense, where that receptive data is poor. Okay. And then we can strengthen that straight away. And then we can retest it straight away. And you can see that that weakness no longer exists. Your strength, range of motion, muscle recruitment, control is improved dramatically and long-lastingly through a single session.
Awesome. Question here. I've had an L5 disc bulge for 3 years on and off. Why is it that every physiotherapist, doctor, nurse, surgeon, etc., or book has a different opinion on fixing back problems? Well, I'll give you my answer, which is short, and then Jess can give you her answer, which will probably be less short. My answer goes like this. See the word their opinion? Opinions are just like assholes. Almost everybody's got one, and it's almost certainly full of shit. Jess, give us the sensible, more longer version of that.
Like first, ow, 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 ow. Oh my God, disc bulge, gnarly, and really, really debilitating. So feeling for you on that one. I think the biggest fundamental thing is that they are doing the best with what they currently know. And I really, really, really believe that, because I went through a bit of a head phase of being like, oh my God, all of these modalities are rubbish. And they're all just saying, oh, you need, if you go to physio, it's 6 sessions. Like typically it's anything is 6 sessions. Like, oh, you're going to need 6 sessions. Like chiropractor, they'll do, x-rays and this, that, and the other. And then there'll be 1,000-year plan for you to have 15-minute manipulations twice a week for the rest of your life, frankly, like whatever it is, right? They all have different experiences and they all have different wisdoms, right? So first, they are doing what they are doing with what they currently know. And that's where I was for a really long time, being a high-end PT. You want to lose fat? Easy. You want to build muscle? No trouble. Injuries? I don't know what I'm doing. Let's try modifying that. Let's change that angle. Let's put a cable. Let's take out the bar. Let's try and modify. Okay, still not happy. Okay, go and see a physio. Okay, gone to the physio, it's gotten worse. Okay, maybe go see an osteo. And then maybe 2 years down the line, they might see some improvement. I was so sick of that being the experience of myself and so many of my clients. And so I was actually looking for more, hence why I'm where I am right now. So they've got different opinions because they've got different knowledge and different experience. And like every single one of them that I've worked with doesn't know that this even exists, right? It's a scientific discovery that we can strengthen and restore muscle recruitment instantly with long-lasting results. What else can do that? Nothing. There is literally nothing that exists out there. And there's less than 25 of us globally in the world. So it's not going to be known about. So people will be like, I don't know what you do. And that's cool because I didn't know. I had a degree in sport and I didn't know what the hell this was. So I was like, yeah. So 1, they don't know any better. 2, they're just trying to help. Like they really do want you to get out of your debilitation and pain. And they have seen improvements happen with other people. So they have, some kind of confidence that they can help you in some manner. And they're just doing their best. And when one thing doesn't work, they're going to throw something else at you and something else at you. And everyone's going to have a different kind of take on it. And even Bart, had a different take on this stuff before we reconnected, and I was like, hey, we can do stuff with the non-conscious brain and nervous system. And he's like, whoa, because we learn more and more. I will forever be a student of life. I don't know everything. I know where my lane is and I stay the hell in it. But I'm always going to learn more, and I learn more every single week. And that's why I see Simon for my own personal treatment and upskill every single week, because it is ever evolving, right? Health and fitness is ever, ever, ever evolving. So they're going to, as I said, they're going to have different opinions. They're going to have different experiences, and genuinely they will want to help you. So they're going to give you different things that they've heard of that have helped other people. The thing I love about my job is I can test and show you what you need and what is weak. I can then strengthen it and show you the results. I can then test it and show you all the things. So I don't really have to prove myself to anybody. I just do my job and it just shows them what it does. You know what I mean? And obviously with Bart, we used diamond meters to measure force output so that he could have quantitative data that's like, oh, I gained this much strength. So he can see it, rather than just feeling the experience of it.
Give me numbers, Jess, for God's sake.
I know.
I don't care about your feels. Give me some fucking numbers.
And that's good. You need whatever you need. But we can show our work, and that's a really beautiful thing because there is no proving. And the other thing is, once you experience it for yourself, it's like, oh, okay. Because when you're weak, you cannot recruit. We'll do some kind of output test, see what you can generate, and there'll be nothing. And then we'll strengthen all the receptors, all the tissues, all the fibers, and then you'll be able to hold that position with ease. And it's quite crazy because it happens so instantly and there's nothing else that does this, that it is a bit of like, oh my God, what did you just do? And how did that, oh my God, and now that works. And how come I can do that now? And I couldn't do that before. And then, 15 years down the line, you've still got that strength and control in the same area of your body because you earned it, you've relearned it. That's yours. You get to keep it. Once you regain and relearn control of that area, that is a piece of you that's now yours. And as long as you continue to go into that space, you're going to keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. With Bart, hang on, before you jump in there, I do want to say to him,
go on.
We've done a lot of treatment on Mr. Bart, and when I learned, so all of this stuff, right? This is my 14th year doing NRT, and for the first decade, it was all physical body works. Yeah. You've got a weak pelvic floor, you've got respiratory weakness, you've got, anything in the physical body. Cool. Tick. Easy. I can restore that. Now, this doesn't matter if you have put a hole through your nerve, which I had a guy earlier this year have a surgical botch where they put a hole through his C7 nerve and he woke up and couldn't move his arm.
Awesome.
And 30 minutes later on the table Bart, guess what he's doing with ease?
Nice.
Whether it's that kind of thing or whether it is just degeneration or injury or torn tendon or whatever, that's easy. I'm just like, yes, we can do all that. When it came to learning about the brain and the mind side of NLT, there was quite a bit of resistance. And from Bart as well, because I was like, Bart, let's see if there's trauma in the area.
Oh, fuck off. Just fix my shoulder, bitch.
Yeah, he literally did. He's like, I don't want to do that woo-woo stuff. Put that away.
Fuck off.
Valid fear. Like, how is strengthening something from the brain going to affect something in my shoulder? We are a bit minimalistic as humans, that we think that it's like, oh, this is isolated and this is isolated. Like, it's quite a joke, really. But our body operates, whether the weakness is in the body, the physical, or the mind, it's the same. Both affect each other, right? And Bart knows all about this because we tested it using that diameter. We treated his trauma in his brain. We tested to see where it was. We retreated it from the brain. I didn't physically touch his physical body, and his force output went up in his physical body without my hands touching him. And that was just from resetting weaknesses in the brain that were connecting to that weakness in his body through trauma that was stored there from 30 plus years from a motorcycle accident. And one of the big pieces of trauma for Bart was the sound, because auditory, our sound, was where he had stored a lot of the weakness, and it was when he hit the ground, wasn't it? It was like when you made contact with the ground.
Yeah.
And that trauma stored in his auditory system, in his nervous system and brain, was weakening his shoulder. And that's like, whoa, like that for me was like one of the biggest things. So The brain side of it, I've only been doing for the last 4 years. The body works, I've been doing a decade on top of that. And it's just absolutely life-changing. Like, there is nothing else that I know that exists that does this. And it's just the best.
Yep.
Yeah. So
now,
good.
what I was going to throw in there at that juncture just before was that when Jess was talking about earning it back, that is the appropriate word, earning it back. A lot of people think treatment, that this is going to be a passive, I'm going to lie on the table and Jess is just going to do whatever she does and that's going to fix. No, this is an active form of therapy. Not only active, but fucking hard work. It's not easy. It's very fatiguing. I mean, I did, at one point I did an intensive week. I went and stayed with Jess and her family and we did, how many hours a day did we do for 5 or 6 days in a row? It was four hours of it. And I was absolutely fucking cooked. It was incredible. Really hard work. So that you need to know that as well.
But the thing is, I want to point out though, Bart, that you would not have been able to do 4 hours had you not done 6 months treatment with me online before that. And the reason being, guys, is your nervous system has a current capacity, right? Think of it like holding a volume, okay? It has a certain level of where it functions before you go into dysfunction or dysregulation, however you want to think about it. And so Bart's capacity when I first met him was whatever it was. And then with all the online treatment that we did, he built capacity so he could handle more at a nervous system level. And what that meant was we could be able to do more treatment in person when we were together. Now, when I work with a newbie, I will do 90 minutes maximum because their nervous system is so weak and poorly operating that you'll get to a level that you can't reset anymore. You can only reset as much as that person has capacity for. So you can imagine when I've got people that are in incredibly degenerated, weak states, that I have to start off and you can only reset a little bit. And you've got to build resilience and robustness in the nervous system so that you can restore more. So Bart would never in a million years been able to do a week of 5 days, 4 hours a day. Like, no way. That was because we got him to such a good state in his nervous system that he had the strength to be able to reset that much. Okay, that's not normal. So the other thing is a lot of it at the beginning, and you know, this is different because of where Bart was as well, is passive. Okay, because some of the resets are working through your joint range and through passive lengthening skin and tissues and myofascia, etc. And some of the resets are physical loading. So we have a passive, active, and loaded treatment levels. And sometimes you only get passive because that's all you have access to in terms of what we can reset in your nervous system. Now, as you earn more, guess what? You can do more. And that's why Bart ended up working his butt off, because we were working on not just strengthening his sense of where he is in space, like my position is here, and where I'm moving, i.e. velocity and rate of change, but actual alpha gamma coactivation, being able to load those tendons, you know, have sufficient movement and pump movement through the ligaments. Like, you know, there's levels of treatment. Okay. So yes, you are re-earning and relearning, but it will be to the level that you have tolerance at this stage, and it will build and build and build. So when people are working with me, like I've got a lady in Australia she's going to fly over with her husband, and they want to do a whole heap of treatment. I'm like, you need a few months with me online, because if you're going to spend all that money to fly to New Zealand, pay for accommodation, pay for this, that, and the other, then we want to be able to maximize how much we can get out of each session. And if your nervous system's crap, you're going to shut down real quickly, and we're not going to be able to do much. So online is amazing. Like, I never thought we could do this online, right? We only learned to do that in 2020. And that was one of the crappy lockdown perks that came for me, was we learned to do this online. But there is nothing like having my hands on your body. Like, the physical treatment is super powerful. So if you're in New Zealand, get your butt to me. If you're in Australia, get your butt to me. Like, it's not that far. That's what you want to do if you're going to invest in yourself and in reclaiming the right that we have to move like child with ease. Yeah.
Super. All right. Question here around what are some good ways to do this or the other thing, neck relief, neck exercises, etc. Obviously, Jess is not going to give up the game here and tell you how the thing works and what she does, obviously, because, why
Oh
would
man,
she?
I would.
Yeah.
But and it's not that simple. I haven't tested you. I don't know. I would literally need to look at your system, see where the weaknesses are, and then strengthen them. So there's no exercise. You can't just go, oh yeah, here, do this exercise. And this is why I haven't come out with fitness programs, right? I have nutritional programs, I have nervous system programs. Why do I not put out fitness programs? And I've been approached to make fitness videos on multiple occasions over the years in my sports career. And I was so uninterested because you don't know who you're applying the load to, right? So like, what is the mechanics of that person's structure and systems? What is the neurological and neuromuscular control that that person has? And what else is going on in their life? How is their nervous system today? Because it changes minute by minute, hour by hour. Your nervous system is constantly changing. And so load has to be appropriate to the person's biomechanical structure, their neuromuscular function, and the state that they're currently in. And so you can't just go, oh, here, this exercise is good for this. It's so rubbish and it's so reductionist to think that way. It just doesn't work. So if you've got weakness in an area and you just believe that you do, okay, and you don't know, but you think you've got neuromuscular weakness in that area, then you can try doing some very gentle recruitment-based, light loaded things to see whether or not through repetition you can regain some strength and control over that area, right? But anything where you compensate, right? If I'm doing a chest press, I'm doing some kind of bench press and I'm lying down, and as I come down towards my nipple line, my shoulder shifts or my elbow drops or something is compensating to allow me to get further, I'm already violating my range. Like, go shorten your rep range as well, potentially. Like, there's so many things without knowing exactly what you're dealing with. It's really hard to advise you, but we do offer health checks, and a health check is where you've got one kind of smallish issue and you want some guidance and support. We can have a look at you, how you're moving, have a look at your structure, show you kind of how to test, and then you can go about your day. We also offer like full immersions, and that's what Bart did, like a session to 2 to 3 a week for like 6 months, or it just depends on what you're trying to achieve, what you want to achieve. And obviously all the online resources that are there too are really good, because what they do is they strengthen everything. So the nervous system, if you imagine it, is in control of all of our functions that we don't think about. So, from our facial expressions when we speak, to our voice, to sound coming in, respiration, our breathing, our heart beating, our digestive system, all of our organ function, that is all happening from the non-conscious, right? We don't actively control those. Those are called autonomic processes, autonomic functions. So the nervous system is control of all of those systems, okay? And so when there's weakness in one of those areas or in our overall nervous system, then it's going to put the whole system under load and under stress. So when we start strengthening bits of our nervous system, it's going to improve your systemic function. So all of it is going to get bigger because your capacity has gotten bigger. So you can strengthen sound, voice, emotional embodiment, balanced receptors, vestibular stuff, and it will give you better function throughout your whole body, which is like so crazy that you do something that's your voice and then, I've got more mobility in my hip joint now. It's like, it's mad, but it's so good.
Yeah. So there it is. Question here: pain under the shoulder blade for years, and RFA at L4, L5. Actually, that's T4, T5. Helped some, I feel, but not at the spine. Feels like soft tissue. Suggestions on what I can tell the physiotherapist or the doctor. Your physiotherapist and your doctor can't help, is what we're saying. Maybe a bit. Maybe they can deal with the symptomology, but they cannot fix the issue in the way that Jess can.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That I know. I really, this is why I took on too many clients, because there isn't an alternative. It's not like I can go, oh yeah, just go to this person, go to that person. Like, because they work on your physical body, right? Think about like anyone that does manipulation, right? They're moving your structures. Let's say it's spinal. They're moving and manipulating your vertebrae to try to create better alignment, right? I understand the process of what they're trying to achieve, but they're not changing anything at the neurology. They're not changing anything at the brain to muscular system. And so what happens is those structures, i.e. your spine, will just shift back. And that's why you have to keep going back for manipulation, because you're not changing anything. What we're changing is the way that the information comes into the nervous system and the way that muscle then recruits, so that you can strengthen the muscles that hold the spine where they're meant to be, and they will stay there because the musculatures are holding the structures, not because you've just temporarily jammed something over here. I want to say the same thing about massage. Think about massage. You're so tight. Oh, I need a massage. And then they massage you and you're like, oh, that's so much better. And then the next day you're even tighter than you were the day before the massage.
Especially if it was deep tissue Thai massage. Yeah, you're so tight.
Yeah. I paid it.
Yeah, I giggle. You're not complaining.
It's changing the texture, the density. It's not permanent. It's temporarily changing the tension in the tissue. It's like Play-Doh, right? They're just trying to make it a bit more soft, but nothing's permanent there. They've not changed anything. And then you get more tight and you get more restricted. Why? Because you just put a whole heap of inputs into weak areas neuromuscularly, and now your body is tightened down to protect you, and now you're tighter than you were before you went for massage. Here's the thing. You should not be tight. Why are you tight? Nobody even asks that question. Why are you tight? Tightness is your body's defense. It is your body protecting you from something. Okay? So we think tightness is a bad thing, but it's not. It's your body protecting you against weakness. Where there's weakness, your body will tighten. So when you fill in your maps, so to speak, and you now have full sense and control of yourself, there is no tightness. We don't have to stretch or foam roll or blah, blah, blah. And there's none of that. There's none of that in this treatment, as you know, Bart. We do not stretch anything. We do not manipulate anything ever. Okay? We allow your body to relearn how to move into those spaces, and it lets go all by itself. You don't have to lengthen anything. Okay? And so that doesn't mean that you may not have a problem with lengthening your tissues, but that's another thing. And you don't need to stretch with this modality. And tightness is actually your friend because it's protecting you. But why are you tight? If we can get rid of the weakness and we actually get to the root cause of it, you're not going to have symptoms of tightness and pain. That just goes away autonomically.
Yes, exactly. Can your nerve treatment help very weak glutes? Yes, of course it can. Yes.
Absolutely.
You bet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you see I had a lady this year, bless her heart. Oh my God, she's been probably one of my favorite clients I've ever worked with. And she had a background in anatomy and physiology. And so I can give her anatomical landscapes and she knows what I'm talking about, which makes treatment online, because she's in Queenstown, an absolute dream. Like, think about me coaching you and Pim to treat your ankle. It is so tedious because I'm like, put your hand here and do this and la, 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 la. With her, I could just be like, da, 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 da. So that was really easy to treat her. And she had a spreadsheet and she did all her homework and she checked in and, you know, all the things I pestered you for, Bart, like, how's your da, da, da? Like, you know, so she was a dream client. But anyway, when she came to see me, she was so skeptical and so frightened. She's in her 40s and she had 2 failed hip replacements in her 40s. They'd given her hip replacements.
Yeah, crazy.
Just crazy. And so she was frightened and she used to do a lot of hiking and trekking and exercise and stuff, and she just couldn't do any of it. And her butt had completely like atrophied. She had no hip extension muscles, really weak, and she couldn't move. So really restricted range of motion in her whole hips. Spine was also fudged, but, you know, she came to me for hips. And bless her heart, like, this is an investment, right? And people are totally happy and it's normalized to, you know, get a loan or a mortgage for your house, get a loan or some debt for a car. Like, we pay
all these excessive money that we don't even have in mortgages as investments for the things that carry us through our life or shelter us in our life, but not our own bloody body. And that makes so much crazy to me, because this is all we have, right? We are not our houses, our cars, our da-da-da. And if you don't have physical strength and control and longevity, you're screwed. You might be sitting in a big marble house, but like you're in a wheelchair or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So anyway, she was really frightened because it was her entire life savings to see me for 3 months, and she was shit scared. And that's all welcome. Like, I love healthy skepticism, like you should, and trust, because there's a lot of bull crap out there. Anyway, she did 1 session online on her hip, and we restored quite a bit of strength and function just in half an hour online. And she took the plunge and did 3 months with me, and we restored full strength, control, function, She just did a 3-day hike, fully loaded, no pain, no problems. She is moving and loading and regained all full control over her full pelvis and hips, and now we're working on her spine. But like, it's just life-changing, and it's something that we just put up with. Human beings are terrible at putting up with crap. Like, oh, it hurts to get out of bed every day, but I'm not going to do anything about that. Oh, it hurts to, I have to sleep with pillows propped around my arm so that I can get into a position I can sleep. Oh, it's okay, I'll deal with it later. But we're going to get a mortgage for a house, like we don't prioritize ourselves. And it is a massive investment. And it's because we prevent surgeries and we fix botched surgeries, and there's 25 of us. So unfortunately, it is a massive investment. However, we can guarantee what we do. And I don't know there's another modality that can do that. I can show you, and you can see exactly what we do and how you get to keep that strength and control. And it lasts. So it's just the best thing ever. I love my job.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so how important is food in terms of your nervous system? Well, your food's important in every aspect of your body, including your nervous system, of course.
Yes.
One of the real problems with the wrong diet is it causes chronic systemic inflammation, and as soon as you've got chronic systemic inflammation, you're going to get shutdowns.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what? I love working with carnivores too, because I work with quite a few carnivores that come to see me. And it is easy because I know that side of the world has been taken care of, so to speak. I'm like, cool, you're doing what you need to do with your nutrition. We might need to look at quantities and timings perhaps. And if you've got some kind of digestive issue, we might look a little bit more into your nervous system dorsal branches. So we have 2 big branches of our nervous system, one big one up here. It's our ventral branch, and then we have another branch down here, and it's the dorsal branch. And the dorsal branch controls all of our organs. Okay, so when there's weaknesses in the nerves to the organs, and we can treat those as well. So we can actually do that from the neuro side of it. And also, if your ventral branches, so your upper branches, that controls our facial expression, sound, voice, our heartbeat. This is what the ventral branch controls. You may need to strengthen that because that might be weak, and you're becoming dysregulated because that branch is weak. So food is important, but also is what state is my nervous system in when I eat? Because if you're in a stress state, and I want you to think about this, if you're in oh my God, I'm late, or something's really frantic, do you think you're going to digest the food that you're putting in, even if you're eating the right food? No. Okay, anything where like Bart said, anything where we're shut down, shutdown's another word for dysregulated. It's another word for dysfunctional. When our nervous system is in distress, okay, and it's gone into defensive states, we can't operate our body well. So our digestive system will shut down. Our regulation of our blood sugar and even our hormonal regulation will be affected by our nervous system. So I get all of my clients to test their state, make sure that they're in a healthy, neutral nervous system state before they eat, so that at least what they're putting in then is going to be absorbed by the body.
Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So 4 minutes to go. So let me just go through a couple of things real quickly before we have to jump off. First of all, at the bottom
went so
of the
fast.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it? That's
Jesus.
what she said. There you go. I got one in for you. Yeah, I've been limiting the "that's what she said" jokes because like anything, they get old, don't they? In fact, we had a really good one. We had a really good one on Saturday. I made a "that's what she said" joke, and somebody said, "Look, it can't be that's what she said every single sentence. Sometimes." And then, fuck me dead if I'm lying. He went on to say, "Sometimes it fits, and other times it's a real stretch." Pal. You make this too easy for me. Anyway, right, let's go through a few things real quickly. Right, at the bottom of the screen on the ticker tape, the yellow ticker tape with the black writing on there, you will see several things. You will see the address which you can go to buy adult stem cell nutrition supplements from the Fine folks at Sorrel. You can get them from Jess at the address at the bottom of the screen. Also at the bottom of the screen is an email address, which I hope is still valid, Jess, where people can get hold of you. It's the Jessica Treatment, or Jessica at the Jessica Treatment. .com. There it is. Also, you will see the address at which you can follow Ted on the X platform, and you should, because he's hilarious as Ted. I can't do a thing with him. Thank you very much. I'm as funny as fuck. Yes, he is. He's not me. I'm not him. Never the twain shall meet. Don't confuse. Don't deny his identity, because that's bigotry, and you'll be up for hate speech then. Further, you will also find an address at which you can send me some sats, satoshis, or the smallest units of division that you can divide bitcoins up. For those that are not Bitcoin enabled or don't know what the hell we're talking about, that's an address you can send me bitcoins, basically, which will be appreciated. I'm going to do a stream later in the week all about what I've been learning about bitcoins and cryptocurrency and stuff. It's really my first foray into it in the last couple of weeks. For various reasons, various things have prompted me to look at it seriously for the first time. And obviously, being a quick study, I've learned a lot. So I shall share what I have learned with you so that you can make your own decision about whether that's something you want to be involved in or whether you don't. So that's later in the week. What do you want to leave people with, Jess, before we have to run away?
I'm still stuck on that last question. I just wanted to add something.
Go on.
We were talking about food and nerves. Obviously, fat incredibly important for nerve function and myelin sheaths. So if you have any kind of degeneration where that is a factor, you need to be eating a lot of fat. It's literally been sitting on my mind since we said that earlier. I've been taking Sorrel for about 5 years, maybe a little bit longer. They have a carnivore version, so they don't have the fillers, and the cat is bovine. Those ones I love. And with Sorrel, they also do a really lush night cream if you're looking for Christmas gifts. What else do I want to leave you with? My nervous system programs. There's 4 of them available online. Voice. These are for people that are weak in their voice. And again, I haven't met a human that isn't. Okay. It's a ventral branch. It's going to help with your overall capacity and strength. And you can speak without getting shut down. That's a really big one. Emotions is another one. Vestibular, so that's balance, right? If you've got issues with balance, had stroke, your granny's had a stroke, anybody, this is like the perfect program for you. It also, I've used it with children recently and had amazing results with kids that have balance problems. 2 hours of this and they are back balancing and back on a bike after not being able to bike like their whole lives, like crazy stuff. So balance is there. That's balance, emotions and voice. And Bart's and I, little nutritional program that we did a few years ago that's got so much value. My God, it's a really big deep dive into nutrition through Carnivore if you're struggling with that, and a basic nutritional program. All of those are on Black Friday sale until 12 o'clock today. And I know that doesn't give you much time, but I just thought I'd let you know about that too. I might even extend it for another hour or so. And I'll pop that. It's just stands for the Jessica treatment. So you can just look it up if you want, but that's got 50% all off my new nervous system programs for the next.
Right. For those of you not New Zealand, that means you've got 59 minutes.
Yeah, I might extend it a couple of hours for you guys, but yeah, jump on there. I've never made them this cheap and they won't be this cheap again, but I wanted to do something really amazing for Black Friday.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. Jess, once again, thank you for your valuable time. Thank you for your valuable insights into things. Thanks for sharing of yourself. It's always good. And, perhaps in future when we've all got to a point where we've got more time, you can come back and be a co-host on the channel more regularly.
I know, we should do regular ones. We could do a pre-Christmas one. Let's do a pre-Christmas one because I want to know what you're doing for Christmas and
All right, well, email Ted and we'll sort it out.
I will. All good. And yeah, if you guys have got any questions, pop them below. We'll come back to them. And you know, if this has piqued your mind and your interest about this stuff, there's also a little it's like $10. I made it so cheap in New Zealand dollars, but there's a little podcast that you can watch and learn all about how we take in information, how our brain does all the things.
Awesome.
So I'll pop that in my stand store. Cool.
Lovely. All right. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to see you.
All right, hun. It's really good to see you. Ciao for now. Right, there it is, boys and girls. Yeah, fantastic stuff. Well worth looking into. Much more. And you should, because like from someone that's experienced a fairly robust amount of NRT treatment, it really is what it says it is. And Jess and Ant are really, really very, very good at what they do. The results speak for themselves in terms of the actual testing. To use a Bitcoin analogy, really, it's don't trust, verify, and that's what they do. They test, they treat, they retest. Did it work? Yes. Awesome. All right, so with that all being said, join me later in the week when I will be talking about Bitcoin and crypto a bit, using simple language for those that, you know, because that's one of the main reasons I've never looked at it until now, is because I didn't understand it. Now I do, quite a bit. You should look at it too. But you'll find out that when you watch that stream later in the week. Other things that are going on, people continue to be wrong on the interwebs, don't they? So I'll probably deal with that later in the week as well. Busy times. Oh, yes, and the final thing I need to say is for those of you who are signed up to my Patreon for my course on how to read the literature, I know there's been a slight delay in the third lesson dropping. I shall be putting that together, recording that, and uploading it later today is the plan, all things being equal. So long as nothing goes horribly wrong here in Pimbatia, that's what'll be happening. So we'll see you folks that are signed up for the Patreon for that lesson number 3 and how to read the literature later on this afternoon. And if anybody wants to join the Patreon in the meantime, absolutely, you can do that. Go to bit.ly/Bart-KAY, and there's a link there on that page to find the Patreon. All right? Right. That's it. In the meantime, let's sing the song and we'll be out of here. Steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. I think they got it, Ted.
Yes, I think they got it too. Join us next time. Bye, boys and girls. Ha ha ha.
Yes, all right. Hit the button, Ted. Good lad. Anytime you're ready.